Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion number 278, the new Quickbar, and I'm with Afflixian as always.
Hello everyone.
So, Quickbar, pretty cool stuff. I'd almost actually forgotten, not forgotten, I wondered rather if this was actually being a thing or not, because it hadn't been talked about in a long time. So the proposal was first mentioned more than 1.5 years ago in Friday Facts 191. Since then, we kept mentioning it in our blog posts and players always kept asking about it. After a lot of back and forth within the team on whether we should implement it or not and how it should work, we finally have it almost finished for 0.17, which is awesome. So, to refresh our memory, the Quickbar's changed from being a separate inventory is simply a shortcut bar to the player's main inventory. It mostly works like the current Quickbar, except item slots can only be filters. So, I mean, pretty much as that says. So you can't store items there anymore. They're just like filtered references to items that are in your inventory.
Yeah, it's more akin to the Quickbar of an MMO, for instance.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, pretty much they just continue to say, like if you place an insert, if you do an inserter in the new Quickbar, it creates a shortcut telling you how many inserters of that type you have in your main inventory. Clicking on the shortcut will grab the first bill stack from the inventory. That shortcut will stay there throughout the game, even if the inserters are depleted temporarily. So basically this solves, several issues where there's no more random items appearing in the Quickbar as you craft them. There's no items moving to different slots. No more using the Quickbar to carry things around. No more will this be crafted to inventory or to Quickbar. Confusion when shift clicking an item if it will go to the Quickbar trash slots or somewhere else. Guides the player to make proper shortcuts. Players are much more likely to remember shortcuts they created themselves. Players in full control of the Quickbar instead of the game trying to be smart. Managing one inventory is simpler than managing two, and relevant item counts, which I think the relevant item counts is actually huge because I thought of this when reading this paragraph above where it shows the entire count you have. Like right now, it's kind of hard to judge how many of something you actually have because it only shows like however many on your Quickbar, and you may have some in your inventory, but even when you go to place them, it's still only showing like one stack or however many you grab from your Quickbar. So it's kind of hard to like tell how many you actually have.
Yeah, so now you have a new thing that you can do to find out how many you have. Just create a filter on your Quickbar, and it'll tell you how many you have.
Right. And the main inventory size was increased by 20 stacks to compensate, which is really nice. So we're not actually losing any inventory.
Yeah, they had to do that. They had to do that. Like they can't take away 2 full rows of items and then not do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, we need that inventory space. So a suggestion that quickly gained traction was the ability to configure and switch between multiple pages, not just 2. So the new Quickbar is actually 10 pages of shortcuts that you configure as you like. So a page for like general factory building, a page for combat, a page for building trains, a page for outposting, oil processing, utility blueprints, etc. It's up to the player to configure these pages as they like. And you can see down here. So again, remember guys, these are not actually items themselves. They're just shortcut presets that you can use that would then pull from your inventory. So this just makes it really, really easy to just have these presets. Like it'll be so nice, just like a full rail one instead of like searching through your inventory for rails or having to move them in and out of your slot hotbar when you want to do train stuff, so on and so forth. Like this is just really, really nice.
Yeah, they made the moving things in and out of your Quickbar really easy because you just save the preset and then switch to it when you need it.
Yeah. So when clicking on the button next to one of the selected pages, a page selector will open which shows all 10 pages of shortcuts. So you can then easily select what pages you want to actively use and see on the main screen. The number of pages visible on the main screen is configurable. The page selector also acts as an extended Quickbar, allowing you to quickly grab an item or blueprint that you don't commonly use or allowing you to quickly configure pages. And then another thing that's changing, which I think is really nice, is the default keyboard shortcuts are being changed. So basically now what will be in 17 is it'll be 1 through 0 to pick items in this top selected page. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 1 through 0, rather than the 1 through 5 and then shift 1 through 5 like it is currently, which is kind of unintuitive, at least to me.
That's not really intuitive at all. No other game that I play has that keyboard shortcut layout.
No, it's really, I always forget that. So then what shift will be used for, though, is shift +1 to shift +0. So, like 10 pages worth basically will change the top selected page. So if you, select your top page or whatever, if you have that selected and then you do like shift 5, as they show here, it'll automatically change your page to that preset. And this will be just really nice. So you don't even have to click the thing and open it. You can just simply shift whatever number you want if you remember which number your presets actually are on. And then we'll just bring it right up.
Yeah, another thing I want to note here, that I read the first time I read this through, but for some reason it didn't register in my brain. The number of pages visible on the main screen is configurable. So you're not locked to just 2. So see how at the bottom you have 1 and 2 showing? You can configure that, apparently. They don't say how many you can see, but you can show just 1, or you can show, let's say 5. You can see all 5 of them if you need all of that. But the hotkeys will only work for the top row.
Right, yeah. So then you would just do the shift hotkey to get to the one you want, so that's really nice, because maybe you want like a rail building, like general factory building combat on or something, if you're like pushing out, or like more likely would be like rails and outposting and then combat, all visible or something. So so that's really cool.
Yeah, that's nice. What that also means is there's no, you know how you can currently use X to swap the 2 Quickbars? You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it would just be the shift and then whatever number. So the ghost cursor. A feature for more advanced players is the ghost cursor. When selecting a buildable item from the Quickbar, or when using the pipette tool, if you have no item of that type in your inventory, a ghost will be placed in the cursor instead. It's a common situation where, for example, you build something around inserters, so instead of crafting more or running to the other side of the base to get more, you can place ghosts, continuing to focus on designing what you were building instead of being distracted, which this is like, it's one of those things where I don't know why it took them this long to implement it, because this is something I think that has been needed pretty much forever. It is so frustrating when you're trying to build your stuff and you run out of the item and then you just can't do anything, because then you have to at least craft one more and then do shift click every single time if you want a ghost, or you have to stand there crafting them or go run and get them. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, this reminds me of building my smelters for my starter base. That each of them needs about 100 inserters.
Yeah, that's a really good example, are those like smelter setups.
Yeah, that's like 800 inserters just to have 4 lanes of iron, 4 lanes of copper.
Yeah, which is absolutely nuts that early on. So to avoid confusion for new players, though, this feature is off by default and can be turned on in the interface menu. So remember this, guys. If you want this feature, when 17 comes out, you're going to have to turn it on in the options menu. So integration with Blueprint Library. This is still a work in progress, since the big changes are also coming to the Blueprint Library. The plan is that you will be able to create shortcuts for blueprints from the Blueprint Library. This means you can place your most commonly used blueprints and books on one of the shortcut pages and use them directly from the Blueprint Library without clogging your main inventory. Which, again, very nice
That'll
feature.
be nice. Yeah. Why wasn't this in before?
Good question. I mean, that's what I'm asking about most of these things. Why was this not already in? Like, couldn't we have gotten that instead of cliffs or something? I mean, but...
Yeah. Okay.
So, non-GUI progress update. So there was some talk following the last week's GUI progress update as to why we don't release now and finish the GUI during the experimental phases. One major clarification I'd like to make is that it is not only the GUI that is not yet finished. While GUI is currently the largest tasks remain to be done for 17, there's still some other non-GUI features that are yet to be completed. So, Yeah, I didn't realize that. It's really I guess maybe you just kind of need to get used to this as being norm, but it's really kind of confusing, at least to like I would say non-programmers who don't know how it works, to know what may still be needed, like having work on it or not. Because when they show these things like the fluid system and stuff in the Friday facts, most of the time they make it sound like it's done, unless they specifically say that it's not. So, because recently we had the Friday facts with the fluid system, they were like showing all these examples and talking about like exactly how it's going to work and stuff, and reading it, you're just like, okay, cool, well, they finished that. But apparently they actually haven't, and this is the case with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like when they show something in the Friday facts, for the most part, the design is done. It doesn't necessarily mean the implementation is done. However, for the fluid system, it did sound like the implementation was done because they had performance improvements. But after reading this, it says after internal testing, we've been making efforts to tune the new behavior, specifically how throughput over distance and flow with different fluids works. So the fluid system is basically done. They're just tuning it.
Right.
But the others are not done yet.
Yeah, so that would include high-resolution enemies, further map generation tweaks, playtesting, bug fixing, and design balancing. So, so this is the graphical stuff for enemies, but they do say here, alongside a graphical update, we also have been experimenting with some functional changes to the enemies, which should be interesting. Now, I saw a lot of people in the forums and Reddit like speculating for, oh man, we get new enemies. No, this is not what this means, guys. This means probably very small things to the current enemies already in the game. Like maybe...
Yeah, behavior changes, not new enemies.
Right. Further map generation tweaks. So since this last post they did, there have been some further plan changes, improvements specifically to the placement of tiles, biomes, trees, doodads, and cliffs. So, I mean, map generation is something I'm glad they're taking their time on because they screwed it up enough already. I'd really want them to get it right this time. Like, I know that's rude, but like, come on. It's been horrible for like the last 2 years. I really hope they get it right this time.
Or we'll just keep using RSO.
Yeah. I mean, probably we'll still use RSO, but we'll see what they've managed to do. So playtesting, bug fixing is so this is kind of important to read. So it seems to be the case, but next update is going to be the biggest Factorio release so far. And this like $ thing, is this like a developer joke or something?
Yeah, that's a programming joke. Usually your variables, in some languages, your variables are preceded by a $.
Okay. I get it now. So this is going to be the biggest Factorio release so far, which I definitely disagree with, but I guess it's a matter of perspective. It's definitely the longest one they spent time on, but I would say that in comparison to like 0.15, it's definitely not the biggest one in terms of actually implementing new things.
In terms of features, yep, it's probably not the biggest one. Or in terms of user-facing features, it's not the biggest one. In terms of optimizations and number of items going into the update, yeah, it's probably the biggest.
Potentially, yeah. So while some initial playtesting shows that most things are stable, we have yet to do our typical office-wide week/fortnight of playtesting and tweaking. Inevitably, things that we need to solve will come up during this playtesting, so it would be unwise to release before it is complete. There are also over 50 unsorted bug reports on our forums, which we will need to sort through. Looking over what is left to be done, it is clear to me the release won't be ready for January. I mean, yeah, we kind of knew that last week. When they even presented this possibility, it wasn't January, then it was not January.
Yeah, it happens. It's software. Software product was delayed. Stop the presses. So yeah,
when we are ready to release 17, its launch definitely won't be a surprise. We will announce it the exact date in the Friday Facts at least the week before. So there you go, guys. You don't have to keep, no, you don't need to keep, like, is it coming out next week? Is it coming out next? No, they're going to announce it beforehand. I would say that my estimate from last week is probably pretty accurate. It's going to be March. because you automatically got to factor in a week of them playtesting and fixing stuff. So, I mean, that's another week. That takes us, almost to the end of January. And then that's not counting all these other things that they haven't actually finished yet.
Yeah, so instead of always asking yourself, is it coming out next week? You should be asking, are they going to announce it this week?
Yeah. Pretty much. Or maybe you should just ask, is it coming out this year? But hopefully we get it this year. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So, more delays, not surprising at this point. Honestly, I just have I'm just gonna keep doing my stuff until it comes out. I'm just gonna not even hope for it anymore. But
at least new features. At least at this point, the delays in release date are not because they're adding new features to the release. It's because they're cleaning up the features they've decided to add.
Yeah, I guess that's a plus.
It's delay for polish, not delay for new features.
Right. But yeah, I mean, overall, the Quickbar is super great. It's actually probably one of my most anticipated things for this release. It's going to be really, really nice. Add just so much quality of life stuff. But I think that's pretty much it. You have anything else to add?
No, that's it. Short and sweet.
All right. That's going to do it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts below. And until next week, we will see you later.